Kid, I don't care if you're the chosen one or that you need to level up, this is a nature reserve. You can't walk in and start killing innocent wildlife. You're being arrested. You don't understand, I'm on an incredibly important quest. The child protested. Ramon watched on impassively as Carl secured the suspect's wrists. From the king himself, he continued, as the handcuffs clicked shut. To protect our borders. You just wait until he hears about this. I'm sure that would have been a real impressive threat, Ramon sighed. 40 or 50 years ago. Before we became a republic? Well, of course His Highness has to stay hidden from the likes of you. He needs to be protected from the scum of the cyst. ACCK. His sentence was cut as Carl slammed him face first into the side of the cruiser. Ramon made little effort to hide the wry smile that had crept up at the corner of his mouth. All right, I've got him secured, Carl said. You patting him down? Course, let's see what this bastard's packin'. Ramon made a first pass over the child's strange getup. Hardened leather vest and chaps, scuffed to hell and covered with metal studs, heavy-duty workman boots and thick, durable gloves, but a curiously exposed chest and midriff. Ramon could only conclude that this child was going to be into some strange things when he grew up. The extensive belt at the child's waist quickly drew Ramon's eye. Pouches and slip pockets hung from it at every angle, the random hodgepodge giving the impression of the crazed collection of a madman. From one such pouch Ramon produced a clinking bag. Caltrops, he whispered. Illegal in 17 countries. Another pocket contained a small bag of a rather distinct green powder. Ramon slipped the pouch open and sniffed the contents cautiously. He'd recognized that pungent, almost earthy aroma anywhere. Warg root? It's medicinal. The boy stammered. It's to heal poisons. You know full well medicinal use laws ain't yet passed the governmental regulators. And with an amount this high, you'll be looking at possession with intent. The critters here inflict a lot of status ailments. Yeah, I bet they do. Wait, what the? From a long leather scabbard Ramon pulled a blood-soaked, serrated knife. The smears and smudges left across its surface from the retrieval betrayed the liquid's freshness. Ramon wouldn't have been surprised if it was still warm. That's Dawnbringer. The blade of justice gifted me by the bladesmith of Charl. Funny name for a zombie knife, Ramon replied. And this bladesmith? Let me guess, he hangs out behind the 3rd District pawn shop? Wait, how did you? He's been on more watch lists than I can count. Never bloody there when the raids come round, though, is he? A flashing light growing steadily through the trees elicited from Ramon a great sigh of relief. The wagon they'd phoned in some hour ago had finally seen fit to arrive. Coming screeching to a halt at their side, the rear doors were thrown open by a waiting transportation officer within. Took your bloody time, Ramon chastised. Come on then, kid, let's go. But the child seemed to be showing precious little signs of cooperating. You leave me no choice, he said, squirming uncomfortably within Carl's grip. Come on, just a little. Slipping from Carl's grasp, the child dodged around the cruiser and turned to face his would-be captors. A grin crossed his face, and a passion burned behind his eyes. Firebolt! He screamed. Carl flinched instinctively, but Ramon remained stoic and steadfast in the face of the boy's threat. It was with a great sense of vindication to Ramon, then, that the child's words appeared to have no impact on the world around him whatsoever. I said. Firebolt. Still nothing. Come on. Firebolt? Ramon chuckled to himself. Not so easy without this, now is it? He said, dangling before him the lighter that he'd liberated from the boy's belt mere moments earlier. Hey, come on, I need that. What you need, is to bloody get in this van, Ramon shouted, tackling the boy and forcing him through the waiting doors. The awaiting officer received him well, guiding the prisoner into one of the secure holding seats. Together, they fastened him in and set about separating and sorting the evidence. Sir. Carl's voice carried from somewhere off outside. I think I've found his bag. There's a bag as well? Ramon jumped eagerly from the van. In a stark retort to his excited mood, he found himself instead confronted by the pale, haunted specter of Carl, who appeared to be currently trying to stop himself from vomiting. You might want to take a look at this, he said, weakly, handing over the bag. As he opened the sack and began flicking through its contents, Ramon felt the core of his stomach twist and writhe. Oh, you sick son of a, he whispered. The bag contained a seemingly endless mass of severed tails and limp, lifeless tongues. It was all he could to suppress the nausea. Why would you do this? These can't be worth anything, even in your twisted black markets. They're for potions. The boy protested. I'm gonna need a lot when the time comes. And you're participating in the production of outlawed herbal remedies? Son, you're going away for a long time. He closed the bag and threw it to the transport officer, but the image of its contents remained. This would be another thing that he'd see every night as he tried to slip off to sleep. Every damn night. I'm sick of looking at this kid, he sighed, and slammed the wagon's door. Get him out of my sight, he yelled to the driver. We'll start writing up statements. Ramon and Carl stood silently for a moment, watching the wagon disappear into the trees. Delusions of grandeur strike again, Carl sighed at last. Hope he gets the help he needs. You got a heart of gold, Carl, Ramon chuckled, slapping his partner's shoulder. Gonna get you in some real shit one of these days. From a back pocket he pulled a cigarette, and hung it limply from his lip. A few awkward strikes later and the boy's lighter caught, setting the cigarette alight with it proved mercifully easier. Only after a long drag did he think to offer his friend a spare cigarette. Carl refused, of course, but he would appreciate being asked nevertheless. You know, the real crooks are those back alley priests that keep on indoctrinating our youth, sending them out on these baffling quests, he said at length. Bunch of charlatans, placing ideas in their heads that they can be something bigger than just some chump in the factories. You never had a dream, Ramon? Carl asked. You never wanted to be something bigger than yourself? To set the world to rights? Dreams is a dangerous thing, Carl. You set yourself a dream one day, you wake up the next with a backpack full of rat tails and chicken tongues. And then where do your dreams take you? Straight to the slammer? That's right, straight to the slammer, Carl. Ramon took one final drag on the cigarette, before jettisoning it amongst the long grass at his feet. A swift stamp later and he was forced back into facing the matters at hand. Come on, let's get to those reports.